From 1910 to 1945, the Japanese Empire deprived our sovereignty during basic war and illegal colonization. It made compulsory mobilization of around 800,000 Koreans into Japan. In 1945, the United States dropped A-bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The number of Koreans who suffered from the bombing is estimated to be around 70,000 and 100,000, while numbers of deaths amounted to about 50,000. A considerable number of the victims were drafted workers through forced mobilization by Japanese Empire. Although around 43,000 A-bomb survivors returned to their liberated homeland, they faced nothing but neglect from the South Korean government and poverty and social mistreatment resulting from the aftermath of the bombings. Suffering threefold from Japan's compulsory mobilization, the USA bombings, and the South Korean government's neglect, Korean A-bomb victims gained consciousness of their need for reparation through the conclusion of the 1965 treaty between Japan and the Republic of Korea. To make their voices heard, they founded the Association of Korean A-bomb Victims on February 11, 1967. On November 4, 1967, around 20 A-bomb victims carried out a protest with a banner that read, "Reparations of my body," in front of the Japanese embassy. On August 6, 1971, 10 also Korean victims cried out the US government should also reparate Korean A-bomb victims in front of the United States Embassy in Seoul. On June 11, 1990, Lee Meng-hee, an A-bomb victim, attempted suicide by taking poison in front of the Japanese embassy.
미국주의 침략 전쟁에 의해 지금 이 시간까지도 그 광기의 역사가 한국 원법위성 한우들의 몸과 마음을 관통하고 있는 현실을 인식해야 한다고 생각합니다.
On March 22, 2002, Kim Young-ryul, a second-generation A-bomb patient, held a press conference with his father Kim Bong-dae in Daegu and informed the world on the medical issues of the second-generation A-bomb patients. He organized the Association of the Second-Generation Patients of Korean A-bomb Victims, starting a campaign on the enactment of a special support law which would support generations affected by the bombings. On April 27, 2015, Solidarity for Peace and Reunification of Korea and People's Solidarity for Participatory Democracy visited the U.S. Department of State and demanded its acknowledgement of existence of Korean A-bomb victims and act on the investigation and reparation for victims, but the U.S. refused the recognition.
우리들은 미국이 변하기 전에 하루라도 속히 피해자에 대한 사죄를 요구합니다.
On May 1, 2015, victims Kim Jin-tae and Kim Bong-dae raised the issue of Korean A-bomb victims for the first time at the UN and inquired the accountability for the original sin of the United States that conducted the bombings. On May 26, 2016, President Obama, visiting Japan, acknowledged the existence of Korean A-bomb victims for the first time as the President of the United States, referring to thousands of Koreans among the victims of USA bombing. Upon Obama's visit to Japan, Korean A-bomb victims and SPARC traveled to Hiroshima together and demanded acknowledgement of Korean A-bomb victims, calling for reparations. On August 6, 1971, 10 also Korean victims cried out the US government should also reparate Korean A-bomb victims in front of the United States Embassy in Seoul. September 6, 2019, the Korea Atomic Bomb Victim Association decided to pursue a People's Tribunal case to hold the US government accountable for dropping the atomic bomb. It commissioned SPARC about the related processes. September 6, 2019, the Korea Atomic Bomb Victim Association decided to pursue a People's Tribunal case to hold the US government accountable for dropping the atomic bomb. It commissioned SPARC about the related processes.